Welcome, class. What we're going to try to do this week is just show you a video kind of guiding you through the different muscles and see how this works out. With muscles, as different from when we learn bones, you'll also be responsible for not only identifying a specific muscle, meaning that if we point to a muscle, you won't only have to be responsible for naming that muscle, you'll also have to be responsible for knowing its origin, where it starts, and that's typically a part on a bone, its insertion, basically where that muscle ends, and that's typically another part on the bone, and the action, what that muscle does when it contracts. We're going to start off with week 1, group 1, and I'm going to walk you through the terms. On this group, you won't be responsible for actions and origins and insertions because they're a little bit more complex, so you will be responsible for being able to identify the actions. In this set of video, we're just going to do group 1. The first muscle that we're going to identify begins back here on the back of the skull and wraps all the way around and will end right here in the front part of the skull. This is called the occipital frontalis, and it has 3 main parts that you're going to be responsible for knowing. The first one is right in here, and this part of the muscle is called the frontalis, and it covers the frontal bone. The frontalis, its action is to wrinkle your forehead and wrinkle the eyebrows. So if you lift up your eyebrows and you wrinkle your forehead, you're moving your frontalis. The other part is back here. This is called the occipitalis. And not everybody can flex this one, especially I can't, but if you are able to flex this one and pull it shorter, your whole scalp would kind of move. So it moves the scalp kind of back. And that's the occipitalis. On the top part right here, you see this white broad ligament, right, a tendon actually, right there. That's called the epicranial aponeurosis. And if I turn the model a little bit here, we can see from the back the occipitalis back here, and the epicranial aponeurosis is this white broad tendon across the top. The way that I remember that is if you were to grab an apple and place it right on top of your head and have someone shoot at it, that apple will be on top of your cranium, so epicranial, apple, there's the apple, and then you're nervous because someone's going to shoot an arrow through it, so aponeurosis. The next muscle we're going to talk about, if I turn the model over, is this muscle right here that goes around the eye, all around here. That's called the orbicularis oculi. And when it contracts, since it's a circle, it's going to close up and it closes your eye. That's the orbicularis oculi. The next muscle I want to point out is right here on top of the nose. And you can see it right there at the end of my stick and right there. That's called the nasalis. When you flex that muscle, the action is that it increases the size of your nares, so flaring your nose, or you can just say dilates your nostrils. And that's the nasalis right there on the side. The next one is another circular muscle, and it's called, similar to that circular muscle on your eyes, it's this muscle right here, and that's called the orbicularis oris. So oris kind of for oral, so orbicularis oris. And when you contract that muscle, you see it's circular, it closes your mouth and it also purses your lips, it pushes them out a little bit there. Orbicularis oris. The next muscle is right here, and on most of these muscles that you'll see on for muscles, you'll see one side has superficial muscles, so all these muscles are kind of towards the near the top, and then we remove that layer to show you sometimes the bone underneath and some muscles that are hidden underneath. On this side, we're going to go back to the more superficial muscles, and I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit to show you a muscle. If you see this triangle right here, this muscle is called the levator labii superioris, and its action is described basically by its name. Levator is kind of termed to elevate, so it pulls up when it contracts. Labii, so it pulls up the superior lip right here, your upper lip, superioris. So levator labii superioris elevates your upper lip. It pulls it this way and lifts up your lip. Next to that muscle, we have two other smaller muscles. First, we have this muscle right here, which I'm outlining. And you can see it has two strands. One there and one there. That one is the zygomaticus major. And when it lifts, it pulls right here on the corners of your mouth. And it helps you smile. So it elevates the corners of the mouth. Right this way. A smile. Next to it, right here, we have the single strand right here. Don't confuse that with the triangular levator labii superioris, which is this triangle here. But this single strand by itself is the zygomaticus minor. It's minor because the major has two strands and this one only has one, so we call it minor. And it goes up to here to where the zygomatic bone is. So zygomaticus minor right there. And when it contracts, it pulls up this way and does a similar action because it's so close to the levator labii superioris. It does almost the same action. It elevates the upper lip. The last muscle that I want to mention to you is actually not very well seen on this one. It's called the corrugator. And the corrugator would fit right here where my arrow would be. And what it does when it contracts this way. And it furrows your eyebrows. So when you squint down or you're angry at someone and you pull your eyebrows down, that's called furrowing the eyebrows. And it's an action created by the corrugator. And it'd sit right here. You almost see it. If you saw it on a different model that actually shows it a little bit better than this one, you just see like an eyebrow looking muscle right here. And those are all the muscles for Group 1, Week 1.